Good morning. Good morning and welcome to First Parish Brewster. We're a Unitarian Universalist welcoming congregation, people of diverse philosophies and beliefs, people of various cultures and races, sexual orientations, gender identities, abilities, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your path, may this be a place of rest and restoration on your journey. I am Twinks Hastings, the Director of Lifespan Religious Education. Happy to be welcoming you to the service today with our interim minister, Rev. Karen Anderson, and our music director, Kaisa Fern. Our services are recorded and available on our YouTube channel midweek. Masks are now optional in worship, although we do have this back right-hand corner where masks are required. And next week, the mask required place will be on the top balcony because we have our pageant and we need that space to make the magic happen. We ask that you all wear your name tags or fill in a name tag in order to be more welcoming to new folks amongst us. We also welcome and celebrate the noises, movements, and mirth that little ones bring to our worship. We are so glad that you are here too. For those of you who may be first-time visitors, please stop by the welcome desk and let us welcome you fully to our community. Welcome to people streaming online. So many welcomes. Give them a wave. Welcome on this morning, which we make sacred by our presence together. And we have two community news announcements. Debbie, you want to come forward?
Good morning, I'm Debbie Klein. You may not know me until I put this on. If you haven't been around lately, we had our holiday fair this past week. We had our online auction, and I'm happy to announce we've raised more money in the online auction than we have in the past. We raised over $7,000. Our fair we had yesterday was incredible weather, and everybody was decked out in their holiday gear. And I'm still waiting for our accounting firm of Ernst & Young to release the final numbers, but I believe it's well over $2,500. So this event raised between $9,500 and $10,000. So thank you. So there's a ton of people, and I'm not very good at putting words together like these two wonderful ladies up here. So I had to do some Google research, and I looked up the term thank you. And thank you is a noun. And growing up, I was always told a noun is a person, place, or thing. And I went, well, that's not going to do it. So I read the description, and it says we express appreciation towards someone. Well, that's really not going to do it. So then there are different ways you can say thank you. You're the best. Done that. I owe you. Don't know if I've done that too much, but I do owe you. Many thanks. My warmest thanks. I can't thank you enough. You're a lifesaver. Thank you kindly. Much obliged. I sincerely appreciate you. My popular one is much appreciation. But then I thought 2 words don't really encompass everything unless it comes from within. Look around. Look around to people on the right and left, and it's because of you all that we did this, and I thank you.
Okay, she did that as a thank you to everyone, but really, I mean, she's like the... Thank you. Okay, I have 2 announcements, and I will be quick. We are in need of ushers for the 3 services that we have on Christmas Eve. We need 4 ushers for 4:30 and for the 7 o'clock, and 2 for the 9 p.m. So we have a family-friendly service at 4:30. We have a family service-friendly service at 7, and then we have like a reading and music at 9 o'clock, okay? please, if you are interested in ushering, where's Liz? Liz, can you stand up for a second? Can you guys talk to Liz if you're interested in helping? Okay? Yes. Okay, last thing. Part of my work when I'm here is trying to help with things like structural deficits, okay? And I have been just observing for the last number of months since I've been here and trying to think through ways in order to make money for the church that are possibly a little unusual, but also are making money from outside, not just from asking from all of us to continue to contribute. Does that make sense? Right? Okay. So I gathered about 10 of the folks in the congregation presidents, chairs of endowment and fundraising and, all the money people, right? Okay. And I pitched 3 ideas to them, one of which is somewhat crazy, but I'm going to say brilliant, okay? But it is very different, okay? Anyway, I would love it if we all could get involved in these, because I do believe that they are some of the ways in order to take care of structural deficits in years to come, okay? And you won't have to worry about that. So, I would love it if you got some coffee today and then scooted back in here to hear what they are, okay? Yeah. Okay, awesome, you rock.
So let's all take a breath together. We've been practicing this downstairs also. Welcome to worship. It is so good to be together.
So last week, we lit our first Advent candle, and as Twinks described, Advent is a time for waiting and cultivating patience. It's a time of the year where we welcome back the light, even as the days continue to get darker. And today we also celebrate Hanukkah. Now, Hanukkah is a holiday that the Jewish people celebrate. So it's also called the Festival of Lights. And the reason for that is because a long time ago, the main Jewish temple was destroyed by people who didn't want anyone to practice the Jewish religion. And every Jewish temple has a light, kind of like our chalice over there, our UU chalice, that represents the light of love and creation. And it's never supposed to go out. But after the destruction, there was only 1 day's worth of oil. It was an oil lamp back then, not a candle. There was only 1 day's left of oil for that light. But it was going to take 8 days to get more holy oil from the holy oil guys. It's true. So, miracle of miracles, that bit of oil lasted the whole 8 days. And so, we're going to light this candelabra today. It's also called a menorah, with 8 candles, one for each day that the oil lasted. And today we light 4. It's the 4th day of Hanukkah. Hanukkah, among other things, is a holiday of hope. That the light of love can last even in the most difficult of times, even when love seems impossible. So we light these candles today, and we're going to light Advent candles and the menorah, sending out this hope to all people, whoever they are, who are suffering now in the Middle East, in Ukraine, anywhere where we hope that peace can finally come. And so in that spirit, I invite Margaret and Josie to come and light the Advent candles first, 2 of them. And we're going to invite the Fife family to come and light our menorah. And as they do so, I'll sing the blessing over the candles in Hebrew and then my English translation. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvosav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Blessed art thou, Creator of the universe, for whom we kindle the Hanukkah lights.
I grew up riding horses because I had an aunt who had a saddlebred farm. If you know saddlebreds, they're a little persnickety. So I started riding as an adult on thoroughbreds, riding with dressage. As a number of you know, Scott and I have a horse farm in upstate New York. And when we first moved there, about 8 years ago, I started riding thoroughbreds, who are also a little high-strung, but not as persnickety. But I started riding in a different way, which is called dressage. Now, dressage, which I didn't know, actually was started and used by the cavalry. And the reason it is because you need no voice commands to ride a horse. It's all with your thighs or your calves or your weight change or just very small movements in your fingers in order to have a horse do certain things, like everything from doing this, like you can make a horse do that without saying anything to it, to go into a canter or a gallop or trot or anything, just with a weight change. So while I started riding with this horse called Cody, who was like a regular lesson horse, and pretty much you could do anything with him. And then I worked my way up to Achilles, who is a thoroughbred off the track. Now, Achilles was just a brilliant horse. I learned so much with him. And one time, I'm in a riding lesson, and my instructor says to me, okay, I want you to take a deep breath in and blow it out, and he will stop. And I was like, trotting around. You're full of it, Amy. Like I'm yelling at Amy. I'm like, that's never going to work. It's never going to work. And I'm trotting around, and she goes, just try it. So I try it, and it didn't work, of course. Then she yells to me, just commit, sit low in the seat, take a deep breath in, and he'll stop. So I did, and he stopped. And I am telling you, I was gobsmacked by that. I was so in awe of that moment that I was that connected to an animal, to something other than a human being, that just by breathing and connecting to them, I stopped. I was like crying. I told people for a month after that about that experience. And I have held on to that moment for years now because it's like a pocket kind of awe that I keep along with me all the time. A reminder of how intricately we are connected to the universe, to each other, to animals, to this life. And sometimes I need that reminder. And I think that's actually why we come back to church, is to remind each other that there is awe and wonder that surrounds us all the time. And sometimes we just need to take a deep breath and connect to it. Welcome to our celebration of life. It's so good to be together with all of you. Before we sing our first hymn, would you please rise and greet your neighbor this morning? Would you please turn to...
We're going to sing the Gray Hymnal. 343, Gray Hymnal 343, A Fire, Mist, and a Planet. We're going to sing 3 verses of this only.
we light our chalice this morning with these words. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We come together to bring that light which is in all of us together in our presence.
Join us in our affirmation. We believe in love.
Love is stone in its church.
We believe in truth.
Which the truth is sacrament.
We believe in helping others.
Service is our prayer.
We believe in the sacredness of life. Thank you. And we are actually going to go right downstairs without a story today because this is our last normal day of CYM until 2024, and we have a lot of mysteries to solve.
This is a time in our service where we offer our heartfelt gratitude to organizations in our community that sustain those who need our help more than anything else. This morning, Split Plate is with Family Pantry of Cape Cod. The Family Pantry is a nonprofit, non-denominational activity dedicated to serving the needs of the less fortunate on Cape Cod by providing food to the needy. Our mission is to help people in need regardless of race, religion, or residency by providing food and clothing. There are many ways in order to contribute to the offering. Both if you look in your order of service, you can text in order to pay for it, as well as putting funds into the plate. I will say that we're also accepting contributions for the shelter at this time, for this month, but we're looking for 3 items. One of them is going to sound a little odd. Well, okay. They are in need of feminine products, okay? They are in need of socks in particular, and they are in need of men's underwear. And I will tell you a funny story about this. My husband was at TJ Maxx not that long ago, and he got some underwear, and they take all the things off of them, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like the alarm things. He gets to the alarm thing, and the whole thing goes ding, 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 ding. And this woman who did not check him out goes, "That's his underwear." And he's like, "Really? You had to do that?" So anyway, he walks back, and she goes, "No, they have a double ring on it because it is the most stolen item from TJ Maxx." That shows you how much people are in need of just basic needs. So again, socks, feminine products, and men's underwear we are going to put under the tree. We will now take the offering mindfully and gratefully. It's a little unorthodox this morning, what I'm going to do. It's a little silly, but our worship theme this month is mystery. And I'm trying to get to a subset of mystery, if you will, on wonder and awe. So, wonder is something that can knock your socks off. It changes your perception or knowledge about something. It wakes you up. It surprises you. It makes this life, magic. So when I ask you to, I'm going to have you collectively shout something out along the way of this meditation. You're going to see what I mean, okay? So I invite you to turn inward with me now. Get comfortable in your seat. And we will follow this by some shared silence. There is magic all around us, if only we'd see it. So for the next minute, let me wake you up to some of it. Ants weigh more than humans. The combined weight of ants on the planet is higher than all human beings. The world has over 7 billion people and 100 trillion ants. Can I hear a collective wow? Wow! Raccoons are highly capable of unlocking complex locks. Ethologists discovered that raccoons can pick complex locks in fewer than 10 attempts. The locks were rearranged and placed upside down multiple times, but the raccoons were still able to open them. Can I hear a collective OMG? OMG! Cats can safely drink seawater. The kidneys of felines can filter out the salt in the water. Because of this ability, cats can consume and properly rehydrate with salt water. Can I hear a resounding holy cow? Holy cow! Manatees can control their buoyancy by farting. Their buoyancy is controlled by discontinuous fart cycles. Manatees can also control and regulate the distribution of their intestinal gases. When they want to sink, they contain the gas, and when they want to rise, the gases are released. Can I hear an amazing, that's amazing? That's amazing. Baby elephants suck on their trunks as human babies suck on their thumbs. This habit provides comfort to the baby elephant when it is not being nursed by its mother. Trunk sucking also helps the baby elephant learn how to use and control its trunk. Can I hear, that's incredible? That's incredible. With all these wows and OMGs and amazing and holy cows, let us settle into a time of silence with a new awakening for the mysteries and miracles that is this life. May the silence we have shared continue to hold and heal us all. Amen.
And the FPBU instrumental ensemble can lead us in a quasi-reggae style spirit of life. Can I hear a for real?
Life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Oh, in the wind, rise in the sea, speak in the heart, every life, shape of justice. Who's hold me close, we set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. I gotta say, I was just waiting for one of you to fart and then just like float on up. Not really, though. That would have been amazing. I want to start by a quote by G.K. Chesterton. This seems to be the main problem. How can we contrive to be at once astonished at the world and yet at home in it? How can this world give us at once the fascination of a strange town and the comfort and honor of being our own town? Wonder brings us down to size. Think of the images of our galaxy which reveal that ours is just one of billions more, or when you've stared into a dark, endless ocean. Both things right-size you. Such images remind us that the universe is more vast than we can imagine. They leave us with a sense of wonder that overwhelms. In the face of such incomprehensible abyss of the mystery, one can't help but feel humbled and small. But religion never wants us to stop there. Hold on, it says. Just stand at the abyss a bit longer. Lean in a little bit more. And when you do, you'll realize that this path doesn't end with a deep darkness that doesn't care. No, if we remain there in the witness long enough, a new message arises. As my husband Scott puts it, you look into the vast mystery, and surprisingly, it stares back at you and says, "Welcome home." Indeed, as astronomers tell us, contemplation of the vast universe doesn't make them feel smaller. It makes them realize the larger story of which they are a part. We are stardust, as they say. From the vastness we came, and to it we will return. In other words, the path of wonder is not so much about feeling small, but it's about feeling connected. All month I've been thinking about that connection, that feeling of being at home within ourselves, among each other, and with the beyond. And how easily we lose that feeling of connection. But also the way wonder sneaks in and kind of gives it back to you. It's all led me to two stories that I want to offer up to you as gifts of sorts for this holiday season, gifts to keep with you. Here's the first. My daughter, Neva, recently sent me an essay that she was working on for a class. Her story is a profound, welcoming home story to herself, her well-being, and the interconnectedness of which we are a part. So, as I said, we have a horse farm, right? When Neva was 13, we bought her a thoroughbred off the track from Saratoga. His name was Crimson. He was 7 years old at the time. A If you've ever been around a thoroughbred, they have a lot of energy to them. But he was particularly high-spirited and anxious. She indeed had a lot of work in front of her to train him. So after about 2 months of working with him, she went with her trainer, a friend, and they loaded up the horses in a trailer, and they went to indoor riding ring, okay? And while they're on the way, it wasn't even that far away, it was maybe like 5-6 miles away, while they're in the truck, the trailer's moving around, which, you know, isn't that unusual when you got horses in a trailer. But then they get to where they are at the farm, and they feel this like earthquake movement in the trailer, and they all fly out of the truck to figure out what's going on. Now, what had happened was bizarre, but they open up the window on the side of the trailer, which is where horses can put their head out and look around, and her horse had jumped up onto the shelf in front of her. Now, like all trailers have this shelf that's usually at like mid-chest height, okay? And they put hay there so they can eat. But he had jumped up, his entire front part of his body was up on this very narrow shelf. None of them had ever seen a horse do that before. And they were trying to figure out, well, how the heck are we going to like back them out? Now, you would think that it wouldn't be that hard, but considering nobody had ever seen them do it before, or a horse even have that happen to them, they had no idea how to do that. Now, while that was happening, and they're trying to figure that all out, her horse manages to turn his entire body to the window that's about 3 feet by 3 feet. And he works his way out of the window by wriggling and pulling himself out, which is 5 feet above the ground, and he lands on the ground. Now, to get how absolutely weird and bizarre this is, right? It's basically saying the equivalent of a guy who's about 6'4", weighs 250 pounds, and tries to get through a dog, you know, like door that's built for a schnauzer. I'm not kidding. Like, that's how big that is. And that's on the ground, right? This is 5 feet up. So it turns out that her horse actually lands on his feet, but then he just bolts. And he is flying through these fields, and it is pitch black in upstate New York on a farm. You know, like, he's just running on the highway, actually not the highway, but like the country road. And then he's going back through the field, and my daughter runs after him trying to figure out what to do, and she's yelling at him, and Crimson, you know, like screaming at the top of his lungs, and she can barely see him because it's like a crescent moon, right? So there's barely any light. After about 40 minutes of trying to find her horse, she walks back to the barn hoping that he would have showed up. And sure enough, he had shown up about 5 minutes earlier, and they had put him in a stall and gave him some food, and Neva goes in and rubs him down and kind of calms herself down and tries to calm her horse down. Now, when I say this is a Herculean move on his part, it also shows you how incredibly anxious and fearful this animal was. The evidence and the advice that she got at the time from the horse world regarding his anxiety was concerning. She thought she'd be offered training techniques of encouragement and care, but she was often instructed to implement intense, punishing approaches. The primary wisdom was that his behavior was out of line. He needed to learn how to respect her and know she was the alpha who had the power. It was one of domination and supremacy. My daughter was told that she should even hit him if he seriously disrespected her, but she felt uncomfortable doing that and didn't really understand how that could be helpful. At one point, she was told to put him into the trailer and beat him with a broom. To my daughter's credit and consternation, this brutal mentality terrified her. So given this weird directive of superiority and domination, she felt at a loss and struggled to connect with her horse and train him. All of this got further complicated for her when her own struggle with anxiety started to impact her relationship with horses overall. Being easily overwhelmed herself, she got separated from her own self, she felt like, and from others, ultimately not feeling at home in her own skin. This struggle increased until junior year, where COVID hit, and strangely, COVID gave her the space to take a hard look at herself and her emotional well-being. She says it wasn't until she was ready to face her own anxiety issues that she could face and address her horse's anxiety as well. Mainly because she could see herself in him. She recognized the anxiety he felt was akin to her own. In fact, his reactions weren't that dissimilar than her own. And once she made that connection between how he was feeling and how she was feeling, all she wanted to do was to help stop that feeling for him and have that miserable experience that he was in. So she changed her approach to working with him. It was all about how she decided to actually build a bond with her horse. So contrary to the harsh tactics that she had been told to implement, she talked to him quietly. She would go out into the pasture and just sit with him, not doing anything. She would put him in a stall and not tack him up. She would just sit with him. She befriended him, basically comforting him in the way that she wanted to be comforted when she was anxious. That's when their relationship changed. He softened, he calmed, he adjusted, he relaxed. He stopped stomping around all the time. This horse was so anxious that he'd shake, like literally shake, like when you get really, really cold, or you get anxious yourself, right? Like as a human being, you start shaking. He completely stopped doing that and became super affectionate with her. Here's what my daughter writes about this experience. By connecting with Crimson and putting myself into this so-called field with him, I was able to reconnect with myself and change our relationship. Crimson's heightened sense of awareness of his surroundings and how he reacted to them made me realize how I respond and interact with my own surroundings. By being able to connect with Crimson in order to calm his inner anxiety and witness his change in reactions, I was able to look inward and change my own. In helping Crimson, I helped and healed myself. In his book, Why We Take Animal Voyages, Sam Anderson writes this: "It's hard to put into words exactly what we are looking for when we go out to meet an animal. That need probably goes deeper than language. On some level, I think we are looking to orientate ourselves, to locate ourselves on an accurate map of the universe. Not using the coordinates we've been handed by human culture, the self-flattering, narcissistic, anthropocentric fantasies of a world made of us in our own image. Something in us yearns for accuracy, even if the price comes at a demotion to ourselves. It is liberating to be decentered, and animals are always happy to perform this service." Even my husband Scott, when they're a little confounded or frustrated with humanity, when people can't figure out how to have empathy towards one another or even awareness of one another, they have a saying that they've come up with. They say, "We're all just dumb monkeys." In other words, though, we too are just animals. Neva comments, "Our species seems to have replaced cooperation and community with competition. We are surrounded by power grabs. There's a lack of care for the greater good of our species, other species, and for the earth we live on. We have forgotten how precious it is we are even here at all. Horses have helped me reconnect to a deep, more dormant part of myself. This dormant part is one that is not inherently provided in our society. It brings up some important questions. What has our inability to see ourselves as animals cost us? Have we become disconnected from ourselves? Has our inability to relate to other animals not allowed us to relate to one another? I love those questions. They're great questions to really take to heart because they have to do with wonder. Creating a bond with another animal, not just a human animal, can be magic. It frankly taps into the wondrous and insanely wild story of evolution that is miraculous and mysterious and mind-blowing when you think about it. Her story helps her step into this great appreciation for the deep, primordial sameness we share with the plants and the animals of this planet. When my daughter shed the flawed superiority complex we so falsely hold up as humans, she tapped into a richer part of her that brought her back to herself and grounded her and kept her whole. It brought her back to home, to her own well-being. Wonder saved her in a sense. Second story I have to tell you has to do with my friend Wendy. I've told you, I think, this before, but my best friend lost her 27-year-old son 2 years ago, inexplicably and unexplainably. He was her only child, and she no longer belonged to this world after he died. Her life, this world was foreign to her without him. Every day, life was strange and a desolate place. At his memorial, I read this piece by Aaron Friedman about how we are still connected to each other after death through science. He says this: "You want a physicist to speak at your funeral. You want the physicist to talk to your grieving family about the conservation of energy so they will understand that your energy has not died. You want the physicist to remind your sobbing mother about the first law of thermodynamics, that no energy gets created in the universe and none is destroyed. You want your mother to know that all your energy, every vibration, every BTU of heat, every wave of every particle that was her beloved child remains with her in this world." That piece has certainly connected my friend to her son. She and her husband are both research psychologists, so this resonated with them. This summer, though, she came over and she just called me up and she's like, I need to come over and tell you something. So she came over and she was like almost vibrating with excitement about something. She comes into my living room and she sits down and she tells me this, that she had just listened to a podcast on Radiolab called Fetal Consequences. And what she told me, it blew my mind. I mean, one of those experiences where you're like, oh my God. Scientists are finding that when a woman is pregnant, the placenta that surrounds a developing fetus is porous. And they've discovered that fetal cells from the baby are making their way into the woman's body and then staying there after birth. Long after they've given birth. They are finding fetal cells in women who are 70 plus. She also learned, after listening to this podcast and then digging into the data, she is a research psychologist anyway, that these fetal cells that remain in the body often migrate to different organs. And they are suspecting more and more that when there is distress in an organ, like let's say a liver, right? These fetal cells gather together around the mother's liver to help her and protect her from disease. So her children, in effect, are protecting her from harm. When she told me this, I was like, wait a minute. Okay, let me get this. So Max is still in you. Yep, she said. And I said, well, then Don is in you too, right? Her husband. Yep, she said. At this point, the two of us sat in my living room and just cried. And then I said, wait a minute, actually. So Scott is in me, my husband. And Pete, my ex-husband, is in me. And all three of my children. Yep. All in there as fetal cells working to keep me safe. Yep, she said. And we cried some more. Blown away. So was Wendy. And I'm telling you, this wondrous, awe-filled information just held her. It brought her back to herself as home, to her life on this planet, to her life with everyone else around her. Since that time, I've thought a lot about why that made her feel better. In truth, Max isn't really in her. His cells are, but for her, and for me, I'm guessing, her gaining this knowledge of one of the mysteries of the universe, of our interconnectedness, that physical fact just reinforced an emotional feeling she already had that all of us also already have. We have an inkling that we are so intricately connected that it is truly the way the world works, but we forget it. I mean, it's not learning the fact that we come from the stars that hits that emotional place. It's this dormant, almost intuitive feeling that we have that is cellular almost, miraculous, intergalactic, that we are, well, filled with wonder and brought back home. We are brought back home to ourselves and to those who were once here, reminding us that in truth they are still here, just differently ordered. Here's the thing. I started this off by talking about offering stories as gifts. Gifts you could use right now. This is a month that often demands your attention, a month that promises comfort and joy, that reassures you that wonder and magic can be bought and sold, a month where there are parties to attend and presents to get, cards to send and houses to decorate, food to prepare and guests to accommodate, sales to grab and discounts to claim. Now, none of that is inherently bad or good, for that matter, but sometimes those things don't connect you or give you a sense of belonging to your true self, the larger human family, or your place in the universe. They don't always heal you when you are mourning the empty seat at the table where your loved one used to sit and make the holiday toast. Those things don't always elicit magic when you are in need of something to bring you out of your melancholy or address your sadness at being alone during the holiday. They can't usually create a spark within that reminds you how freaking amazing you are. So friends, if this holiday you get stuck, or if you are feeling lonely, isolated, left behind, grief-stricken, sad, lost, or forgotten, if you are feeling a little wanting for something more, I want you to grab some wonder. It's not usually on the shelves at Walmart or Target, and it takes a little bit of effort, but I promise you it will be well worth it. You may have to do a silent meditation on your couch and think about the miraculous, astounding idea that out of 7 billion people on this planet, there is only one amazing you. One creative, no replica of you. Only one with your unique quirks and blessings. One with your way of seeing the world, exploring the world, sharing the world. And that alone is a huge wow, and certainly deserves a collective wow. You may have to sit with your cat or your dog or your lizard or your horse or your rabbit. And remember, we are all animals just like them. We are part of the same family of creatures that were born and will die. We all need comfort and care, and we all need reassurance and sustenance. We all need others to survive. They are not that dissimilar from us. We all depend on the goodwill and love from another, whatever it is, human or otherwise. And man, how crazy is that? That no matter what animal species we engage with, they have many of the same qualities that we do. They all need more than themselves to survive and thrive. You do know, by the way, that 60% of our DNA is shared with fruit flies. Come on, man, that is crazy. And 75% of the diseases that fruit flies get, we get as human beings. That's why they study them. Well, come on, man. Wake up. That's amazing. If you are in need of a celestial reminder of your origins and your connections to the larger human family and the universe, just walk outside and look up. If you are looking on a clear night, you can find the constellation Orion, and on the edge is the star Betelgeuse. It's a super red giant star, 650 light years away. That star and you are made up of the same stardust. And because the star is 650 light years away, that would be around the year 1372 here on Earth. So as my friend Coco says, if I am feeling genetically connected to Betelgeuse and other stars at the particular Earth time moment when I look up, I am, well, time traveling. Right? Time traveling. How crazy is that? But even crazier, as Coco points out, Betelgeuse exploded a few years ago and blew its top, and was verified with the last Hubble photographs, and will, in fact, burst into supernova status that will be visible from Earth in only about 100,000 years from now. Who will see that sight? Thousands of years. And will our stardust still be a part of that? Who knows, my friends? But in face of that kind of wonder and mystery, that kind of cosmic symbiosis, you can't help but feel connected to all that was before you and all that will come after you. And that deserves a shouting OMG. OMG. My friends, just remember, wonder is near you. It's yours for the taking, the keeping, the holding, and the healing. So when you need it, find it and reconnect. And remember that this incredible cosmic tale, you not only belong to it, but it is your birthright and story too. And that's a holy bananas if I ever heard one. May it be so. Amen. As you are willing and able, and join in singing hymn 100, God Peace Like a River. For the closing words. Whatever we can do or dream we can do, let us begin it. Boldness has genius and power and magic in it. May we ever be bold in our living and in our loving. Amen. Amen.